One of the things that people talk about a lot are card values. I talk about it a lot myself. Some people say card values have stabilized. Some say they're going down. Some say they're going to continue to go down. And some say they're never going to go back up. And it creates a lot of discussion and creates a lot of argument. I get it, because for a lot of people, they buy sports cards with the intention of holding them, with them to go up in value. Some people, however, buy sports cards to turn for a profit quickly. Other people buy sports cards because they like them and they just enjoy collecting them. They enjoy the hunt. They enjoy learning about the history of the cards and of the players and the game. And depending on where you fall, I think it may not really matter what the price of a card is doing. Now, some people, it's really important what card prices are doing. And some people, if they go down, they might even look at that as a good thing. Now, how could anybody think of their collection going down in value as being a good thing? Well, sometimes it's hard to take a step back and analyze something that we're so emotionally invested in when you're using that as your example. So what I want to do is I want to take a look at home values and use it as an analogy for sports cards. So let's compare sport card values and the rising and falling of values, and who that matters to most by looking at home values and who home values rising and falling matters to most. Let's take a look.
All right, so how about the collectors that are just holding? They're not really worried about buying cards right now, and they're not really worried about selling cards right now. Well, it would be like a person who owns a home, just like I own a home, and I'm not looking to sell it. I'm not looking to buy a different house. I'm very content with where I'm at. It's the same thing as a person with a collection, and they're content with where they're at. So if there was breaking news that came out and all of a sudden there's panic everywhere because, well, the home market is crashing. If you're a person who owns a home, is content where you live, you're not planning on buying one or selling yours, it's not really that big of a deal because you're not going to be in the market for buying and selling. You're just a homeowner. Just like the person who has a card collection and you're not really doing a ton of buying and you're not really doing a ton of selling, it doesn't really matter that much if the card market goes down or goes down a lot. Now, of course, we want it to go up. It's nice to go up, but it's not that big of a deal.
Okay, so if you fall into the category of people who have a collection of cards, you're not planning on selling them anytime soon, and you really enjoy having them, and you're very comfortable having them. If home prices go down, do you care? Well, if you're not planning on moving, if you have a collection of cards and the prices go down, well, if you're not planning on selling anytime soon, do you care? I don't know how much it matters. Now, of course, just like I hope my home is appreciating in value because it's adding net worth. If it takes a dip, which cards do and houses do all the time, just like the stock market does, just like gold prices do, just like oil prices do, just like everything does, it will take dips. So if we're headed into a recession right now, and card prices have just started their fall, if you're a collector who's not planning on liquidating anytime soon, I don't know how much it matters. Well, what about the next type of person? Let's take a look at that.
So if you are selling, if you're selling your house, if you're selling your cards, and prices start to go down, now that is a different story. You are not in the same position as the person who is content holding. You're in a much, much different place. Now, these people would have a much different opinion if things were to go down. So you've got your house and you decide, you know what, I'm going to put it up for sale. So here you were, a homeowner, content, happy, and then you decide, no, it's time to move on. It's time to move out of the area. It's time to get a different house. And then there's breaking news. And you say, wait a second, breaking news, what's happening? And you find out that the housing market starts to plummet. That would be a problem. That would be a fairly big problem for you if you're a seller of houses. Just like if you're a seller of cards and you have a fair amount of cards and you're looking to sell those cards and now the prices are plummeting, then yeah, you should be concerned. So depending on your situation would depend on how much it really matters if there's a correction in the market. If there's a slide in the market, sellers should be concerned.
Okay, so that person cares, right? The person who has a collection and is looking to sell soon is just like the person who's either put their house on the market or is planning on doing so in the very near future. If prices are dropping, if we are entering a recession, if we are in a bubble, those people would be very concerned when they think that prices are just starting to fall or are falling or are about to fall. Just like the person who's just about to sell their house really doesn't want prices to plummet right before they put their house on the market. So there's no doubt here that if you have a large collection of cards and in the near future you're thinking about selling them, it would be a concern for you if the market was just starting to drop and we have a long ways to go in the drop. But I think there are some people who benefit from a drop. So let's take a look at who that would be.
So, again, your situation would matter when determining if a slide in the market is a good thing or a bad thing. So how about buyers? You're a buyer of houses. You're a buyer of sports cards. So you see that there are a lot of houses for sale and you're interested in buying a house. And here's this nice house. It's for sale. And you're kind of on the sidelines. And then you see some breaking news and you start seeing, hey, wait, what's going on? And the housing market is crashing. It's going down. Well, what are you going to do if you're a buyer? You're going to run with your money in hand and you are going to buy a house because the prices are lower. Just like a collector of sports cards who's not planning on selling, you're just somebody who's adding to your collection. If prices go down, all those cards you used to not be able to afford, or if you could afford them, they were very expensive. They start coming down in price, and now you can afford them, and you can afford more of them. So why are we panicking? If you're a buyer, price drops are good.
If you're just getting back into the hobby, if you've got money and you're ready to start doing a lot of buying, a drop in prices is going to be really beneficial for you because you're going to be able to buy more cards for the same amount of money. The person who's looking to buy a house, they want the housing market to collapse right before they go out and start hunting. They are going to get a better deal. They're going to get more house for the same amount of money. So, yeah, if you're a buyer, if you're a collector who is planning on holding indefinitely, you're not planning on selling anytime in the near future, and you're just simply planning on adding to your collection, a continued drop in prices might just be the best thing for you. Whenever we have an asset, whether it's cards, a house, anything, your portfolio in the stock market, and you own it, it's nice when it goes up. It's good when it goes up. But if you're planning on adding to that portfolio, that's a buying opportunity. That's a really good buying opportunity. So who is it then that's really freaking out if they think that we've just started a slide, a long, slow slide in card prices? Who would it be that really has a lot to lose? Let's look here.
So if you're on the sidelines, it doesn't really matter. If you're buying, it's a good thing. If you're selling, it's a bad thing. The people who are widespread selling and have a ton of inventory, those people are in a much different place. If you are a real estate mogul and you have a whole bunch of real estate, you've got multiple houses that you're renting. You have multiple houses that you are flipping. You have multiple houses in your portfolio. You're in a much different place than the person on the sidelines who's looking to maybe buy a house. The person who owns a bunch of real estate and then they see, wait a second, there's breaking news going on? There's something happening? And you get the breaking news alert, and you're like, what's the breaking news? What's happening? And you're looking, and the housing prices are plummeting. Well, that person is going to go into full-blown panic mode. They are going to freak out. They are going to hit the alarm button because they've got a lot of money invested in this. They've got a lot of money involved, and now it's all going down in value. So the people who should be panicking when card prices are going down is not the collector who's looking to add to his collection. The person who should be panicking when card values are going down are the person with a huge inventory who's looking to sell it, who makes a living from selling it, because now all of this inventory that they have is going down in value faster than you can liquidate the inventory. And that would be a pretty big problem for you.
I have a few friends who invested heavily in the stock market right before the Great Recession, right around 2002 or so, 2003. They were buying lots of houses and renting them out. I have some friends that went from owning one house to owning 8 houses in about 2 years. And they were just raking in money, in rent, and in the appreciation of the housing. And then as soon as everything crashed, nobody got hit harder than them. So the dealer who has an enormous stockpile of cards and is planning on liquidating those cards as their form of income, if the card prices continue to drop, those are the people that are panicking. Those are the people who should be concerned. But if you're just a collector, I don't know how much you need to be concerned. I don't know how much you need to worry. Because as long as you're planning on holding these cards for at least the next 10 years, and you hold them through the recession and then back out, I don't think you have much to worry about. The people who need to worry are the people who need to liquidate some of their cards. Collectors shouldn't be looking at a drop in card prices as a really bad thing. They should be looking at it as an opportunity to add to their collection. So, yes, it's interesting to follow. Yes, even though I'm not planning on selling my house, I still, every couple of months check out to see what the housing market is doing, because I'm curious of what the housing market is doing. I want to be informed as to what it's doing, even though it doesn't really matter, because I'm not going to be selling my house anytime soon. So all I'm saying is, unless you're a dealer with a large inventory of cards, or you've been a collector for a long time with a large inventory of cards that you're just now getting ready to liquidate, I don't think a drop in prices is a bad thing. And I think you could make the argument that it might be a good thing for your collection. Things will recover. Things will eventually stabilize. Things will eventually recover, just like every cycle in the housing market. So if we get too anxious because things have dropped, and we say prices are never going to return to the values that they were during the pandemic. I'm a collector. I'm still going to collect. It's not that big of a deal. And do I think, when I eventually maybe think about not having my collection in 30 or 40 years, that the cards that I bought for $200 and are worth $160 now won't be worth at least $200? Don't panic. Don't leave the hobby just because prices might be in a downward cycle. This is the time to add to your collection. This is the time to really consider getting more invested in the hobby, not less. That's my thought. That's my analogy. It's just like the housing market. If you're not selling your house when the market takes a downturn, do you really care? When the market takes a hit in the housing market, if you don't own 4 houses, how much does your life really change? But if you're a buyer, if you're looking to buy a house and the housing market takes a dip, isn't that a good thing? Long-term collectors, lifelong collectors, are buyers. So go buy and be patient and buy and be patient more and buy some more. That's my advice. That's my take. Don't let a dip in the market run you out of the hobby. Take advantage of the dip of the market instead.